Have you ever tried venison, but were kind of turned off by the flavor, the gamey flavor, the metallic flavor that a lot of people who have tried it and don't like it complain about? Well, I have discovered secrets to make venison taste great. Through the power of the internet and friends of mine who hunt and things like that, I've gathered some information that'll dispel any of the rumors that you cannot get rid of the gamey flavor or that metallic wild flavor of venison. It's entirely untrue. The secrets come into 5 different steps are involved in the process of making it taste really good. I recently moved to a municipality in which if you have a certain amount of land, you're allowed to hunt by bow, very ethical killing methods, things like that. And I've taken it up within the past year. I've made some great discoveries and I'm enjoying it very much, and so will you. The secret to delicious venison that the whole family will enjoy lies in 5 steps. 1. Quick, untainted kill of the animal and cleaning of that animal. 2. Removing the blood from the animal. 3. Aging. 4. Clean off all the fat and connective tissue. And 5. Do not overcook. And it's one of those things that you'll hear many times. Do not overcook the venison. It's not high in fat. Okay? So, my children are the toughest food critics you will ever know. I often call them food snobs because they'll be very particular about this and that. So, I introduced them to the idea. I actually showed them these are the animals in which we might harvest for food. They have no problem with it whatsoever. They love everything I make, from chili to pot roast to steaks to burgers. Everything that I've made them, they have loved. Friends of mine who don't like the gamey taste have said, I can't even tell this is venison. It tastes delicious. It tastes like beef. In killing the animal, you want to make sure, for instance, I use mechanical broadheads, one of the things that I learned about, and that's what's shown right here. This is a mechanical broadhead on a bow or on an arrow, and what happens is upon impact to the flesh, it spreads out like that. And although it seems kind of gruesome, it actually lends itself to a quick and more ethical killing method. And also, shooting from a crossbow ensures so much accuracy that you will not involve the gut. That's one of the most important things. Do not involve the gut of the animal when you hit it, because that will taint the meat. It'll lend itself to spoilage, all things like that. So that's important. Step 2, you also want to remove the blood from the animal. When you remove the blood from the animal, you're going to hang it upside down in a shed, in a garage, something like that, anywhere from 32 to 40 degrees for a couple of days, and drain that blood. That blood tends to make the meat, the flesh, taste very harsh and adds to that gamey flavor that people speak of. All right. Number 3, and the most important aspect of all of this, is aging. You need to properly age the meat. When I say aging, it can be hanging it for an extended period of time before butchering it. It can be butchering it and then aging it in your refrigerator around 40 degrees for a few days and then freezing it. Or it can be after you freeze the meat, you defrost it, you let it age. This is the most important aspect. A lot of people think that covering up the flavor with lime juice or some certain brines or buttermilk or heavy sauces and gravies are the way to go about it. You really need to create a chemical change within that meat that comes from aging. And all that really consists of is letting the meat sit for about 5 all the way up to 10 days in a clean container in your refrigerator. And what happens is there's an enzymatic breakdown. The lactic acid, the adrenaline, and different hormones break down and kind of exit the meat that way. It's not really necessary to soak it in a substance. What you end up with is a very smooth, tender piece of meat that does not have that metallic flavor that so many people speak of. After that, you want to make sure that you clean off all the fat and connective tissue. Unlike beef or pork, venison and even, say, chicken, they don't have really good flavor added in by the fat. The fat doesn't add anything to it, so you want to make sure that you clean all that off. Now, as far as inside the muscle tissue itself, there isn't a whole lot of fat, and that gets me to my next point. Do not overcook it. With beef, especially a good marbled Kobe beef or something like that, a good ribeye, you have fat all throughout, marbling all throughout the meat itself. You don't have that with venison, so it dries out very quickly. So you just want a couple of minutes on either side. If you're making steaks, I prefer a Montreal steak seasoning. If you're making steaks, you just want a couple of minutes on either side at a high heat. Leave it a little bit of pink in the middle if is preferred, because Rare to medium rare is preferred, not to dry it out. Thank you very much. I will conclude now with some photos of some recipes I've made that are just simply delicious. Remember, age it. Okay, our first example of deer venison recipes is that of venison chili. It is delicious. This was served with cheddar cheese and sour cream, just a dash of cinnamon. Remember that. Next actually is a deer heart steak. This was sauteed in red wine, garlic, and shallots. It was served with asparagus, garlic smashed potatoes, and a little bit of shaved Romano cheese. This is a stew, kind of like a beef burgundy, although it's deer burgundy. Again, red wine, garlic, rosemary, thyme, carrots, salt and pepper, and actually some potatoes in there as well. This is the deer tenderloin, and it is just like tenderloin or filet mignon, served with a dash of rosemary, a lot of seasoning here, some bold Montreal steak and olive oil. Serve with the choice of your side. Finally, this is my pot roast. It is simply delicious. Your traditional pot roast with smashed potatoes, mushrooms, carrots, and a nice gravy. Thank you for watching. Remember, proper killing and cleaning, removing the blood, aging, 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 removing connective tissue and fat, and do not overcook this lean meat.